What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Joe Davern with Healthcare Solutions Team and Healthcare Made Simple. I have done a terrible job over the last year and a half. I have not put up a video. I found that this was the proper time to get back into it. Totally my fault on that. I think people are going to need my help and need me more than ever going into 2026 with some of the humongous changes happening in the health insurance market next year. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little very quick history lesson. Kind of explain how subsidies work and show you a couple examples. But the reason I want to make this video now is right before October, you guys, anybody that's insured through healthcare.gov, in other words, they're on an ACA compliant plan, on an Obamacare compliant plan, call it what you will, especially if you're receiving a subsidy on your plan, meaning the government is helping you pay a premium based on your income. Those people are going to start getting renewal letters. And a lot of you guys are going to have sticker shock when you see what your premium is going up to in 2026. Okay, so health insurance premiums ever since Obamacare has passed have skyrocketed. Okay, it hasn't been great for rates. That said, most people don't pay full price. Okay, but there's two things happening next year. Number one, we've heard that all the carriers on average nationwide are raising rates 15 to 20%. That is not good, typically. Okay, that is a pretty steep increase. All right, number two, even bigger. And here's where the history lesson comes in. Back in 2021, during the Biden administration, they passed the American Rescue Plan. One of the tenets of that bill was that subsidies were increasing for all people basically till the end of 2025. They called it enhanced subsidies. So a lot of people from 2021 to 2025, they saw their rates go down a lot because the government increased what they were contributing towards the cost of insurance. Again, depending on income. And I'm going to show you that and then show you a couple examples. Now, forget about the history lesson for a second. Here, subsidies are based off of your what we call modified adjusted gross income, which is basically your adjusted gross income in the household year over year. Okay, so it's based on income, your household size. So, and when we say household size, we mean your tax household. So you, a spouse, and any dependents, as long as you file taxes jointly, you have to file jointly. And then it's also based on the federal poverty level chart. That's where all this comes into play. Okay, so here's a very quick explanation of this. All right. By the way, when this was passed, these increased or enhanced subsidies were always going to expire at the end of 2025, unless Congress acted, right? And right now we're sitting in almost October of 2025. Congress hasn't acted. They're probably not going to pass extending these, okay? But here's how this works, all right? Here's how subsidies work and why it's going to be such a big change for a lot of people next year. Subsidies are based on the federal poverty level chart, okay? That chart is right here. Now, you guys can look this up on Google. You get the full chart. I just gave us an abbreviated version here. But you could be anywhere with the ACA or Obamacare. You could be anywhere from 100% to 400% of federal poverty level to qualify for subsidy. Now, in some states where they've expanded Medicaid, you have to be from 138% to 400% of federal poverty level. Okay. Where you fall on that poverty level chart determines how much you're going to pay for insurance. So let's start at how it works currently under the enhanced subsidies. If you fall within 100 to 138% of your federal poverty level, you're expected to pay 0% of your income towards insurance. Okay. If you are in the 150 to 200%, you could spend anywhere from 0 to 2% of your income. 250 to 300, you're at 4 to 6%. And if you are above, this was a big change with the enhanced subsidies. If you're above 400% of federal poverty level, the max you could pay for insurance was capped at 8.5%. Okay, so this was one of the big changes. So a lot of people making over 400% got a lot of help with these enhanced subsidies. Now, when we say 0 to 2%, 4 to 6%, you're thinking, well, compared to what? You know, you want to. If you're going to pay that percentage of your income towards something, what are we comparing that to or basing that off of? Well, every zip code has a benchmark plan, okay? It's what we call the second lowest cost silver plan in a jurisdiction or a zip code, okay? So remember that because we're going to come back to it. Now, so right now you guys are probably lost. I'm lost in my head explaining it, and I probably know this better than just about anybody on the planet at this point. Most people don't know how to do this, don't know how to calculate subsidies, but I think the easiest way to explain it is just to use an example. Okay, so we're going to come over here. Let's just say, and by the way, this example, this applies to almost all states. Okay, now the rates on plans will be different in some states, so that affects subsidy. Okay, but let's do an example based on how it works currently. Okay, so basically from 21 to 25. So we have a couple here. They're both 55 years old. Okay, they are in that zip code 33186 is Miami. Their income is 90,000. All right. Now the benchmark plan. So if they had to pay full price for insurance, the second lowest cost silver plan in their zip code, based on this year. Now these rates are going up next year, but based on this year is right around $1,800 per month. It's disgusting. It's very expensive, right? Now, the thing is, if this family was making $90,000, now keep in mind, this is a household of two, okay? And I don't have that in the household size chart here, but you would notice that 400% federal poverty level for a household of two is right around 82,000. Okay, so keep that in mind. They make over 400% federal poverty level, but remember, right now under the current rules, what they pay is capped at 8.5% of their income. So 8.5% of their income. I'm not going to do the calculation, but if you took their income well, I guess I am going to do the calculation. If you took their income 90,000, you divide it by 12, you multiply it by 0.085, they basically cannot pay more than, it's right around $730 a month for that benchmark plan, which is why their subsidy comes to $1,160. Okay, so you take $1,160 plus $730, that comes to about $1,800. So this family this year was paying right around $1,800 minus their $1,160 subsidy if they were on that benchmark plan. So around $730 a month. Okay, so not bad. Now they could have been on a cheaper plan, maybe paying $200, $300, $400 a month. But this is all compared to the benchmark plan. They could be on a gold plan paying more than $730 a month. Okay, so now here's the big thing. That family next year making 90,000. We're gonna come here. Notice how when somebody makes over 400% federal poverty level next year, I'm gonna jump over here, they receive no subsidy whatsoever. Nothing. That's called the subsidy cliff. It's how the Obamacare or the ACA used to work. It's how it's going to start working again going forward. So now, post 2026, absolutely no subsidy. So that family, this couple, is going to be looking at somewhere around $1,800 a month if they want to be on that silver level plan next year. Mind you, those rates are supposed to go up another 15 to 20% on average. So maybe they're going to be paying close to $2,000 a month, right? People that were making over 400% federal poverty level, you're going to see rates skyrocket, okay? I'll give you one more example. Let's say that same couple's income was $51,000, okay? So $51,000, when we look at the federal poverty level chart, again, I don't have it correct. I don't have a household of two here. I only have a household of one and a household of four. But a household of two, 51,000 is about 250% of federal poverty level. So right now, this year, if you're at 250%, the amount you could pay for insurance is capped at 4%. Okay, so going back over here, that couple, if they were making around 51,000, would be looking at a $1,600 subsidy. So obviously, 1,800 minus 1,600. If they were on that benchmark plan, they'd only be expected to pay about $200 a month. Now next year, okay, what happens? At 250%, they're going to be expected to pay 8.33%, or just about, for their insurance. So their subsidy is going to go from $1,600 to $1,440, right? So that's a $140 increase. So you can see how rates are going to go up for everybody. You know, depending on where you fall on this federal poverty level chart, rates are going to be going up. But where you're really, really going to get crushed are those people that benefited from the 400% federal poverty level, the income cap being capped at 8.5%, or basically what you can contribute towards insurance. Again, compared to that benchmark plan. All right. Now, the benchmark plan is going to change by zip code. It's going to be different for different ages, but these percentages are all valid and in play. Okay. So again, let's say you're a household of 4. Or even 1. This year, if you were making 70, 80, 90,000, you might still qualify for some subsidy, right? Because it'll be capped at 8.5%. Next year, if you're going to make 63,000 or anything over 62.6 thousand, okay, if you're just a single tax filer, your subsidy is going to 0, right? If you're in a household of 4 and you make anything over 128.6 thousand next year, your subsidy is going to 0. All right. So now you can learn all this, and by the way, that explanation was probably not my best, but you don't have to learn all this, okay? If you need help, you can always reach out to me. My cell is 708-566-6589. That's my Google Voice number. Shoot me a text. Things are going to be crazy, obviously, this year. A lot of people, it's going to be a lot of chaos, right? A lot of chaos of people seeing these high rate increases. But reach out. Either shoot me a call, shoot me a text, and we can set a time to talk, okay? Now, if you're in this situation and insurance is going to become unaffordable, there are alternatives in most states. There are some very interesting options outside of the marketplace if you're relatively in good health, okay? There are very good options outside of the marketplace, which could be a lot less expensive. That said, if you are sick, if you have some pretty significant health issues, it's unfortunate, but rates are going to be going up. You can blame Biden for not making these permanent, these enhanced subsidies. You can blame Trump for not, the Trump admin for not extending them. The government, and i.e. the taxpayer, we spend a lot of money on these enhanced subsidies. I mean, it's a very expensive program. That's why probably the Trump administration is letting them lapse. But for those of you paying already a lot for insurance and seeing the rates go up next year, I know that's not going to make you feel any better. So again, feel free to reach out. I know this stuff better than anybody. We can look at alternatives if you're in these situations. But I wish you guys luck. Hopefully we have a good 2026. And reach out if you need me. Thank you.